There's a subtle line between these two, and it can sometimes get as blurry as a camera lens smeared with Vaseline. Arthouse films. Let's talk about arthouse films first. These films are like that painting you see in a modern art museum, the one that's just a giant red square on a white background that makes you think, I could do that. But why does it feel like I don't entirely get it? That's because arthouse is mainly about the artistic vision, the experiment in storytelling, or pushing the boundaries of traditional filmmaking. Think of directors like David Lynch or Darren Aronofsky. Their movies don't just march to the beat of their own drum. They're making entirely new instruments with beats that echo in the corners of your mind, long after you've left the theater. Arthouse films aren't necessarily made with a shoestring budget. They can be, but they don't have to be. What they do need is to challenge the audience, to spark discussions, or to be the kind that you either love or hate, sometimes both at the same time. Now flip the coin. Indie low-budget films. These are the scrappy little fighters of the film world. Indie films are independent of the major studio system. They often scrape together funding from various sources, and they wear their low-budget badge with honor. It's not uncommon for indie films to be a labor of love, where the cast and crew pour their blood, sweat, and tears into a project, sometimes quite literally, with deferred pay, if any. Indie flicks might be rough around the edges, with less polished special effects or a reliance on dialogue and character instead of star-studded casts or explosive action sequences. But they've got heart, and sometimes they break out and bulldoze their way through film festivals, picking up awards and catching the eye of the public. Think The Blair Witch Project or Napoleon Dynamite. So what's the difference? The key difference should be twinkling now. Arthouse is all about the art, the message, the aesthetic. It's high-minded, maybe even highbrow. Low-budget indie films are about storytelling within the confines of limited resources. They can bleed into each other. An arthouse film can be a low-budget indie and vice versa. But they don't always. Sitting here in Portland, you can see both types of films if you know where to look. The city is ripe with independent theaters showcasing everything from Cannes darlings to that film shot on an iPhone by a local guerrilla filmmaker who had a story that simply couldn't be contained. Whether it's in an intimate art house venue where the aroma of espresso blends with the musings of cinephiles, or at an indie film fest where the seats might be a bit uncomfortable, but the passion on screen is palpable. Both types of films are vital. They keep those cinematic fires burning bright, and keep us all wondering what it really means to make a film. At the end of the day, whatever gets you into that dark room with strangers, losing yourself in another world, that's magic, no matter the budget or box office.